Our first job today is to create a pinch pot with a flat base, and we can adjust kind of the width of how wide it is based on what your design is. But when I cut into a pinch pot, what we're looking for is that it is the same thickness all the way through. So from the top to the bottom, about as thick as your pinky, including the rim. So that's our ultimate goal. Once we've taken the big lump of clay out of the bag, we want to kind of turn it into a sphere, so sort of make it round. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then we're going to take our thumb and we're going to push it into the bottom of the pinch pot. Okay, so just a little hole there. Now I'm going to be using my hand like a duck bill, and my thumb really isn't doing much work, but my fingers are all working together to press the clay all together. This is the pinching. So I'm pinching and turning. Pinching and turning. Most of the pinching is happening with all my fingers, not my thumb. And I'm working right now towards the bottom of the pot, trying to make that a little bit thinner. So pinch and turn. Not pinching like this, not with our fingers like we would pinch someone, but all together. Now that I feel like the bottom is getting a little thinner, I'm going to move my fingers up a little bit and pinch towards the middle. Pinch and turn. Notice it's getting a little bit longer. We can tap the bottom onto the table so that it sits and it's flat. And the rim too, notice it's about as thin as my pinky. If it gets too thin, I can turn it over and tap it to make it a little bit thicker. Remember, the goal is the whole thing feels the same thickness. This is going to be our coil. Our first step is we're kind of squeezing it out a little bit longer. And then to make a coil, we're going to roll it from our wrist to our fingertips. So my wrist to my fingertips are touching the clay every time. And I'm not pushing down on the clay, kind of pushing just parallel to the table. I can even do it with one hand. The whole goal is that the clay rolls over and over and over again. It's not like a quick back and forth motion, it's more of a long rolling motion. Now sometimes people's clay gets flat, and if that happens to you, you're going to press down on the part to turn it more back into like a square or cylinder shape, and then keep rolling it again from your fingertips to your wrist until it becomes more round. Remember, this is a cylinder, so it should be able to roll down a hill, and you should ask yourself, could mine roll down a hill? I want to make it as thick as my thumb. I can even do it with one finger or one hand. It doesn't require a lot of pressure. And look how flat my hands are against the table. So I've made something that is going to fit around the top of my pinch pot, probably even longer. And I can just pinch that part off, and this will be my first coil, and we'll talk. Our first step is to score the clay. Scoring means roughing up the surface, so I am using that middle rib to rough up the clay, sort of like Velcro. So I'm scoring the base, the top of the pinch pot, and scoring down my coil. See how deep it is? So deeply scoring. The next step is to add slip. We just use water on our finger, but slip is like the glue that attaches the clay together. So slip means adding water with our finger to the two places we're going to connect. The next step is to stick. That's the next S. I stick the pieces of clay together by just setting them on top of each other. Lastly, I'm going to smooth on the inside. I still want to see my coil on the outside, but if I use my wooden tool, and I'm going to use it kind of on its side, and I'm going to use my big muscles to press the clay together. And your goal is that you can't see where the clay was once two separate pieces. So I'm going to keep using my wooden tool, the edge of it, to kind of scrape the clay together. So that the clay is then going to be one smooth, connected piece. This takes a little bit of time, and I'm going really slow. I slowed the video down so you can see it. And I can also use my finger to make everything smooth because I don't want any sharp edges or points when the clay will dry. So still looks like two separate pieces on the outside, but smooth on the inside. Now if I have any other pieces of clay, I can roll out those coils. If I have any extra coil pieces, can roll those out again, fingertips to wrist, about as thick as my thumb, definitely no thinner than my pinky. And then now I can practice playing with those coil variations. These ones aren't really long enough, but could make like a little spiral. And then I can even practice attaching those. Remember, the process is score, it's like Velcro, slip, a little bit of water, stick, and then that last step is to smooth. Look at my wooden tool. I'm going to smooth out even the inside of the design. So that makes it really, really strong, like it's one piece. From the outside, still looks normal, but the inside is smooth. This is as far as I expect to get today. So at the end of class, you are going to take your bag, lay it flat, and stick your vessel all the way down towards the bottom of your bag with it being flat. Now, if I were to pick it up like this, what's going to happen? You're going to destroy your vessel. Don't do that. So see how my hand is underneath it on the outside of the bag? Now the vessel is sitting in there, and I'm going to squeeze out as much of the air as I can. Then I'm going to zip the bag closed so that I can use it next week. When you carry it to Mrs. Snyder, hold your hand underneath it so that it doesn't fall over.